Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? Welcome to Monday Modcast. I will be your host, Patrick Wickard, and tonight we're going to have a really great show for you. And I get to introduce somebody that I've been wanting to introduce to you guys for a while. But before we get into that, I've been told that I have to tell you guys something specific, which is if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and yeah, you guys know the routine where they always tell you guys to do that stuff. So please like our page, and we also have a YouTube channel. It's Breathe America with Patrick Wickard that you can go to and subscribe to that, and then you won't miss any of these episodes. Tonight's going to be a ton of fun, not just because the topic, but mostly because of who I get to have this conversation with. But as far as the topic goes, we're going to be talking about the pandemic and parenting, especially. Recently, I've had to deal with a few things with my son who's still in school, and the gentleman joining me tonight is in the same position. So we wanted to start talking about how this is affecting our children and how this is affecting kids today and what we think about it. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce not just one of the moderators, but a very good friend of mine, somebody that I met through Breathe America, and I was really excited to get to know him. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Mr. Chris McCarrell. Welcome to the show, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I am doing well, man. I am doing well. So I think we have to tell the story. I think we just have to tell the story. I think people are going to want to know. So literally, you guys, for those that don't know, when I very first started Breathe America, and the very first time I asked for help, I heard from Chris. And we had talked a little bit before on some minor thing. I don't remember exactly what it was. So him and I got to have a conversation. He had offered to help, and he has been in the back ever since the beginning. But unfortunately, due to technological difficulties that have now been resolved, Chris has never been able to do a live with me. So I was really excited when this opportunity came up, and we get to finally introduce you guys to him and give you guys a chance to get to know him. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Hello, everybody.
Are you nervous?
It is what it is.
We video chat all the time. It should be easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretending in my head right now that we're doing.
Yeah, it's just you and me talking, right?
Yeah.
So, how many kids do you have, Chris?
4. 2 boys, 2 girls.
2 boys and 2 girls. And how many of those children are in school still?
All of them.
All of them. And just so we're clear, I live in Idaho. Chris lives in Texas. What is the current school system in Texas that you're in?
You mean like where they go to school, or just like
what's your school district doing? As far as the pandemic and stuff like that goes.
Gotcha. Well, we recently went back to, I guess, what's considered normal. They still have to wear their face masks right now. When we first started the school year, they had to have their temperature taken, mask, everything in the morning before they could even enter school. In the last few weeks, they have stopped doing the temperatures at the door, and the kids just still have to wear their mask. They have also recently completely done away with the e-learning. Basically, from the way I understand it, from people that I've spoken with, and just seeing things on Facebook, that more or less most of the kids that were doing the e-learning aren't passing. There's just so much frustration, and kids not doing their work. I got a friend that's a teacher she's like, I got 30 kids in my class and 20 on a E class. It's hard to keep up. And so it's been hectic, but we're making do, and now we're seeing some progress. People are starting to open some things back up, and hopefully that'll all go smoothly, and we'll just keep moving forward and get back to what we all know as normal.
What we all know is normal. I really hate that saying, bro.
The old normal, not this new one.
Let's get back to normal. the new norm, the old norm, whatever norm. So Texas is doing a little different than Idaho. So we have it's a color scale: red, green, and yellow. Right now, currently, the kids are in yellow, which means they go to school every other day. So half the school shows up one day, the other half shows up the next day, and then on their off days, they do school on a tablet or on a computer that the school issued, and the e-learning stuff. No temperature checks at the door that I'm aware of, and obviously everybody's got to wear a mask, right? So, but I know tomorrow in the school district that, and it's different for every district too. That's not all of Idaho. That's just the district that my child actually attends school in. So it's a little interesting that every district does it their own way. But we have there's a meeting tomorrow where they're considering going back to red, which means the kids would all go back to learning at home. No more in school attendance stuff. They wouldn't be allowed to go back. It's interesting to me. Well, so that's part of the reason we're having this conversation. So last Friday, my son was supposed to be in school, but I ended up having him stay home because he woke up and he was coughing and his color was a little off. He didn't have a fever or anything, but he just wasn't feeling all that great, right? So I called the nurse and I let her know that he wasn't going to be coming in. And if you send your kid to school right now with a cough, they're going to turn around and send him right home anyways. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really see the point in fighting it. But my son had told me that several people had tested positive in school for COVID. Right, that kids had tested positive and that a bunch of kids were missing, and apparently one of the kids on the football team had it, and so on and so forth. So I simply asked the nurse if there was any validity to that, if there was any truth to that, and I was told that she couldn't actually tell me. And I found this to be quite curious, and so I pressed a little harder, and she again refused to tell me. So I got to thinking, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and you're not willing to tell parents whether or not your child's school has had a positive test for COVID. Now, here's the interesting point to me. I called my son's doctor, right, to have a quick conversation with his nurse. And they've got a pretty strict policy, and that is if they're not showing signs like fever, and they have a whole list of symptoms, right? And if they don't have all those symptoms, they don't want them in the office, period. Right. We'll call in prescriptions, we'll do this, we'll do that if it's a known thing, so on and so forth. But they don't actually want them to go to the doctor's office unless they meet all these little criterias, right? So unless he's been around a confirmed case. So I call the school back. I explain this to him. And again, I'm told I can't give you that information. Now, I don't know about you, but I was a little bit upset. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
I mean, personally, I understand the fact that they couldn't tell you who.
Sure.
But you can give me a simple yes or a no. There's no HIPAA violation with that. I don't know if you guys got one, but I know we did, and I heard a lot of other schools in our area, like right after we went, like school started. I mean, it was maybe a week, and we got a letter from the school district saying that, a student had tested positive. They didn't specify in what school building. They just said at, the school that my children attend, a student had tested positive. But I started hearing and seeing a lot on the internet that was going around at like every school. They said like everybody was getting. It's like, is that just a way for them to, that whole CYA program, or was there some validity to that? I don't know. Who knows? We don't know what to believe anymore. That's the thing.
So I don't know. Like, I'm not some expert on HIPAA, right? But I know that they can't share your private personal information.
Right.
Well, I'm not asking for private personal information about any single person. All I'm asking for is there a confirmed case of COVID inside my son's school or not? I'm not asking for anything else. I don't think personally that this information should be withheld on any level. Now, I did reach out to the principal of the school. Haven't heard back from him yet. And like I said, they're having a meeting tonight to go from yellow back to red. So I kind of think that there's probably some validity to what the students are saying.
How big is school? Like, how many students would you say is in their school district?
Oh, the district?
Well, just like I guess
Thousands. Thousands.
so. He's probably got a few hundred kids in his particular grade.
Yeah, yeah. Few, well, at least, yeah, for sure. Probably 500 or 600 at a time in the school, I think is all they can handle,
Maybe
size wise.
it's just the fact that it's COVID in general, and they don't want to say yes, and then you be one of those parents that possibly blow it out of proportion and say, "Oh, well, this person at the school told me." Well, then they're liable. I mean, I'd be kind of scared too, really, to say anything. But at the same time, there's got to be a middle area there. Parents want answers. I understand that you don't want to create mayhem or chaos or fear monger, but there's got to be a way to handle that to relieve parents while covering your bases.
I kind of think this idea of covering your butt, this CYA mentality of, a parent deciding to go rogue and tell the media or this or that. Look, I think if we're sitting in the middle of a pandemic, which is what they call this, and we have a confirmed case where children are in the school with a confirmed case, then I think it is every parent's right to know, period. I don't think that they have any excuse at this point as to not telling us why. But this is just one subject. And like I said, I reached out to the principal and I plan on having more conversations with him. And maybe this is something we're going to get into as well soon. On some other episodes and things like that. I know we're talking about a whole series on schooling right now. But what here's the other side of it. The effect that I see that this is having on my son, right? I can only imagine for other students, it's worse. For other kids, it's better, probably. I mean, I got to imagine. I think he's probably somewhere in the middle. But this is having a real, legitimate effect on our kids. We're not designed for social distancing,
No.
And I don't know about you, but have you seen anything different with your kids after the start of this whole thing back in February?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, maybe not something specifically, but you can definitely tell a change. Just kids are more timid now. I mean, as far as like public settings, you got parents that might not feel one way or the other about this, but at the same time, you have to consider things for your children. Like if me and you were going somewhere, we might act a certain way. We might not care about certain things. We might care about certain things. As soon as you introduce your child into the mix with you, I'm sure you, like me, I'm not as lax when it's just me. I'm a lot more observant. I'm a lot more cautious. I'm going to err on the side of caution every time, 10 out of 10. If I'm wrong, that's okay, but I'm going to err on the side of caution for my children.
I agree. I'm actually gonna pull this comment up. Miss Jackie Hall, you're doing COVID tracing and HIPAA is the reason. So doesn't HIPAA have to do with individual patients' information? And since I'm not asking for information on an individual patient, I'm just asking if there is a confirmed case or not. Does HIPAA still is that still a violation of HIPAA? Is my question. I know this when it comes to my kids. We don't live in a hugely populated area, but I mean, there's obviously a lot of people here, and there's a couple 100,000 here in the valley, and I can't speak for all the kids here, but I definitely have seen with my children, with my my boys especially. One's about to be 18 and the other's almost 14. That this whole time, they're more withdrawn, they're more distant, they're less apt to want to go do things, and they're scared in a lot of ways. And I don't know that they know that they're scared, but there's this thing looming in their life, and I don't know that our children know exactly how to deal with it. And we talk in this group a lot about mental health and a lot of other things, and I gotta say, like, watching our children struggle is really starting to annoy me.
Difficult.
And in some ways, I just want to be done with it, right? But obviously, we're not done with it because COVID's still around, and we're still dealing with this stuff, right? Um, but yeah, it's incredibly frustrating as a parent, I gotta say, and I don't know if other parents are feeling that too, but I know I am. It's
Oh,
something that I've
absolutely.
got to deal with every single day.
Well, I mean, every single person's life in the country has been turned upside down. Now, I mean, just like anything, we can find the silver lining in anything, including this. And for some people, where some people this is the worst year they've ever had, and yeah, it's crazy. But there's some people out there that are absolutely having the best year of their life right now.
Sure,
We don't see that because all we're being shown is just like anything else. Like, look at all this negativity, look at all this chaos, look at all this division. But there are some people out there that are having a great time right now, and I would say that equally goes for our children, because if you got some kids that are maybe not the popular kid, if they're not the just socialite amongst the school,
sure.
you got some little hermits, man, or some kids that just like to nerd out and play video games. They've been living the dream for the last few months, brother. This is like one big long snow day for them, and so they've just been having a great time. Like my oldest son, whenever he's over here and he's not at his mom's house, like he just gets to like game out. He does his chores, but then it's my rules are simple, man. I don't have a lot of rules for my kids. It's just treat other people how you want to be treated, and if you do that, the majority of the time in this house, you're going to be cool. So he has a lot of free time. So he plays his game. He watches TV. He's enjoying it. My oldest child, not so much. She's socially active, and this has definitely put a big hamper on how she lives her life. She's making do, and still doing the things that she likes, but it has definitely been downplayed a lot to like a year ago.
What do you think the long-term effects of all this are? Like, because I look at this from multiple different perspectives, as many as I can find in my head. Um, and this is a year like no other year that we've ever seen, and I'm not sure what the long-term consequences of all this is going to be for this generation of kids that are going through it. My like I think about the high school athletes that are working towards a scholarship. I think about the high
Mm-hmm.
school kids that are seniors that didn't even get the chance to play their senior year. I think about the kids that are working towards anything like that, anything related to that, where their activity got taken away. And like, I played sports in school, and it meant
Exactly.
a lot to me. Like, I can't imagine having that
Yeah, I couldn't
opportunity taken
imagine
from
being
me,
a senior last year.
right?
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but just
No,
imagine
yeah.
being a senior last year and school ended 2 months early, and everything you worked for the last 13 years, maybe 14 if you went to preschool, was for essentially nothing. You got a piece of paper. Your family didn't get to come watch you walk a stage. Like, that was literally what some of these kids, some of these parents, some of these grandparents have literally been waiting for that since this child was born, and they were robbed of that. My one of the things that I missed out on, just speaking personally, my youngest, my daughter was in kindergarten last year, and they do a kindergarten rodeo at the end of every year, and they do little like paper, farm animals, and like they have this whole little setup in the gym, and they ride stick horses, and there's a whole bunch of just like an actual rodeo, but it's completely safe because there's no real animals or anything like that. But it is adorable and hilarious at the same time. And we got a shirt this year that said, Corona ruined our rodeo. That was what our kindergarten rodeo shirt said this year. I've been waiting to see her do kindergarten rodeo since she was born. She's 7 now. I won't get that. I'll never get that. Unless for some reason they decide to incorporate the first graders with the kindergartners this year, I will never get that. And that's one thing that I'm very disappointed as far as with all of this going on, that I missed that.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that we're missing. A lot of little things that our children and our youth are missing. And it is, I've heard the question asked many a times in many different forums when it comes to all of this. Are we doing more harm than good? When you look at the mental health side of it, when you look at the things that we're losing versus, this perception of safety that we're maybe gaining.
Right.
And that's all that it is. Like, at the end of the day, it is only a perception of safety because, there's just no way of stopping this without, with what we're doing, right? Like you can't, it's just not working. If that was the case, it'd have already been stopped.
And I just want to touch on that because I've always been a firm believer. Anytime when somebody starts talking about doing things for safety, as soon as safety costs us freedom, we're doing it wrong. And I mean, maybe that's just an opinion. Uh-oh. Is this the part where I get to juggle for you guys and like do a little... Well, can't hear you.
That's all right. We're good now.
All right.
Yeah. What are we like? Are we doing more harm than good, dude? I don't know anymore. And as a parent, yeah, you know what, Tammy, you're absolutely right. It is a false sense of security. I agree completely. It's just, I don't know how other parents feel. Like I get the, I got the incredible privilege of, raising my kids by myself for the last 6 years, and I don't have anybody to lean on, and so conversations like this are tough for me because I don't know how other parents are handling it, right? Like, and Carrie,
Right.
you know what? Throw that comment up because you are absolutely right, and this is something that is bothering me on a core level. We are teaching fear as a lifestyle. We're teaching our kids to be afraid, right? And I understand there's a risk. I understand there's a risk, but there's a risk for everything. We take a risk every time we drive down the street. We take a risk every time we go to the store. I take a risk every time I climb on my bike. Like, we take risk all the time, but teaching our kids to be afraid. Like, at some point we got to stop. Like, at some point we got to allow things to play out however it is that they're going to play out. And I know that that's a scary ass thought, but like, I don't know. This is one of those subjects that gets to me because, I think as parents, we all strive to raise our kids to be strong, independent, contributors to society, not the kind of people that lay scared, hide out scared in their home because of some unforeseen thing, I don't know.
What happened to critical thinking?
Yeah, like, right.
Opportunity for somebody figuring stuff out, not hiding in our basement. I'm not saying put people at jeopardy by any means, but
sure,
be smart about it. You can still live your life. Is it hurting people? Yes, but it's hurting people in so many different levels. It's not just like school. It's not just kids. I mean, it's every human being that's affected by this. And whether you're directly affected by it or not, it affects your life. It affects your mental health. It affects your physical health. Like stress does a number on the body, man. And this right here has been one stressful year. I would be willing to bet for the majority of the people in this country, around the world even. And we can't go on like this for a long period of time without having some kind of adverse effect. What will that effect be? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I didn't go to school for that type of stuff. I have no clue. But I'm smart enough to know that there will be an effect. Something will come from this.
Well,
10,
I think there
15,
already is.
20 years. I mean, there will be immediate things, yes, but I mean, I'm talking long-term effects. That's the stuff that scares me, because like especially middle school age kids. I mean, like my youngest son, he's 10. He'll be 11 this year. You know, his puberty's fixing to start. This is his. You know, he's getting to the age where I can tell he's starting to like girls and stuff. You know, but he's still embarrassing. Like, no, I don't either. Top stuff. But this is gonna have
the simple days.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to have a huge effect on that, because you know they were already scared to be close to each other. Now they got to be scared to be close to each other because they might have cooties.
Yeah,
I don't know,
cooties
man.
mean to them now? Like,
exactly.
You know, here's the thing, and as parents, this is a lesson I had to learn, like literally the hard way. What we teach and what they learn are two totally different things. Like, I mean, you can tell your children, you can try to teach your kids about, you know, washing your hands and safety and all of these different issues. You can bring all these things up, and you can tell them not to be scared, that it's all going to be okay. But that doesn't mean they're not scared. It doesn't mean that they don't have this fear, this stress. Like, what about the stress this is putting on our children? And we're teaching them that, you know, and then on top of it, we hear on the news, they're hearing this term, new normal. So this is their new normal. This is how this is how things are supposed to be for them now. You know, as parents, like we have, like, it is ultimately our job to raise our children, right? And we have to be aware of the fact that, you know, how our children internalize these things. And here's the other thing. You have 4 kids. Not one of them is going to internalize this the same. They're all going to internalize it differently. They're all going to have different things about it, right? Like, and we have to do we have to be so on point, you know, right now. And on top of that, we're dealing with our own issues related to all this. How many of us have, you know, lost income or lost, you know, a way of providing, or where everything's been thrown up in the air? Like, we see this story again and again, and yet somehow we have to, like, so this is where I get back to that question that I asked: are we doing more harm than good? Like, at what point do we say, like, as parents, like, okay, I want my kids to continue on with their life. I am done allowing them to hide. I'm done telling them, because I'm to that point now where I want to tell my kids, like, straight up, go live your life. It's okay, you know. But yet then society and like, you look on social media, and if I tell my kids that, like, all of a sudden, you know, I'm the worst person in the world, you know.
And now your kid's getting bullied because of something you said.
Exactly.
I'm with you. I think about, these are some of the thoughts that keep me up at night, man. I constantly ask myself, am I making the right decisions? Am I doing the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Did I discuss this the proper way with them? And I think that's something we do, especially as dads. I think that we honestly are always second guessing ourselves, because there is such a, at least the way I was raised, such a stigma for, sorry, I had to kill a bug. There was a spider. There was a spider. She was trying to get her.
Good dad.
Save the day. Sorry, I lost track of thought there. I don't know, man. I definitely, I understand where you're coming from, and more harm than good. It feels that way, but I mean, at the same time, I can sit here and I can think of a few things that have happened because of the pandemic that I absolutely love. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but we got some fast food restaurants around here that we got an app for now, and I can literally just pull up in the parking lot and they bring me my food. It didn't work like that. You know, you can go to some of these stores that you couldn't, expect them to bring you stuff outside before. You can literally just be like as lazy as you want to be in society now, and they're okay with it. Like it's encouraged.
Well, look,
I'm the guy that likes. I don't like to go into the store and go shopping most of the time with my lady. I hate being in public. I just don't like it. So I like to sit outside. So now you're just taking that whole experience out. We can just pull up in the car and you bring us what we want and we can leave. Dude, I'm in. Let's keep that. I'm just saying, it's not all bad. I mean, I can. Do you have anything good that has come out of this pandemic that you would like to see stick around?
Breathe America.
Besides the obvious. I do like that though. That was slick. That was smooth.
No, like seriously, like I don't think there's a snowball's chance in a hot place that I would be here doing this right now if it weren't for the fact that I literally was sitting at home all the time and I was thinking to myself, I was bored, and looking for opportunities, looking for different things. Like, and it wasn't that I was looking for something else to do. I never thought I'd be doing this, but now that it's here and now that it's happened and it unfolded, it's like, this is actually really great. And I think what the point of frustration that I think that I'm at right now is this. Like, I don't want anybody here thinking that that I don't think COVID's a serious issue. It 100% is. I know people personally that have been affected by it. I know people that have lost their life to it. Like I know that this is a real illness, but I'm frustrated. Right. And I have no problem admitting that to everybody that, yeah, I'm frustrated. The guy that stays calm all the time is officially frustrated. I am struggling with continuing down this path of ultra caution and everything else. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it for my kids. I don't like the example that we're setting as a nation. I don't like the way that we're going about this at all. And I don't like the way that we're responding and treating each other based on where we're at. So yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm tired of this conversation. Not the conversation. I'm tired of wondering, like, what's next? Like, now I got to go back to, depending on how this meeting goes, now my son will be home every day, where he was just starting to get into the routine of going back to school every other day. I mean, the kid hasn't been in school since spring break of last year.
You said something right there that I feel is very important to touch on.
Let's hit it.
Kids and a routine, man. When their
right.
routine gets messed up just think about when they were babies. They had a routine specifically. They ate, they slept, they used the bathroom, they did it all over again. Rinse and repeat. You knew on average about every day what time your kid was going to take a nap because that was your free time. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know it was for me. So you knew when that kid was going to take a nap. And if that routine got messed up, oh man, your whole day was shot. It has the same effect on all of us. I mean, even like as adults, I have a daily routine. And when that daily routine gets out of whack, my whole day is out of whack. I
tell like everybody, I have a morning routine that I go through that starts every single day. And when I skip it or I don't get into it or I don't do it, like I feel it. Like I struggle through my day,
exactly.
And we're right, man.
And we're adults and we don't know everything, but we've dealt with a lot of this stuff for so long that we've learned. These kids don't have the wisdom that we do at our age. I mean, like you said, we can tell them all day long, but what do they hear? What do they absorb?
Well, like my 13, he's going on 14, right? He's I can't get this boy to sleep at all. because he's so used to. I mean, like I said, he hadn't been in school since spring break of last school year, right? Like
They're
all of a
vampires.
sudden, yeah, he's staying up all night playing video games, doing his thing. Like I got up this morning at like 5:30, and the oven's still hot from him cooking food last night. I'm like, or yesterday morning. And so I know what he's doing. He's getting up late, or he's staying up late, playing this game that he likes, because when everybody's asleep, the Wi-Fi is faster, right? Because he likes to play the games. Right? So he gets the best Wi-Fi in the middle of the damn night. So he stays up, then he gets hungry, he goes make some frozen pizzas or something, and he veggies out, and then he crashes about 5 a.m, and then he rolls out of bed about 3 a.m. or 3 p.m, and he's like, and then when he actually does have to go to school, it's a fight. Like, yeah, his routine completely off. And I'm sure most teenagers are. And yeah, no matter what you do, there's no clear way forward at this point in time. And it's killing me. It's killing me for my children. It's killing me as a parent. And, like I said, I have no problem admitting that I am frustrated with all of this.
Y'all are, with good reason, because it's not like there's a clear cut way of doing things. We've heard so many different things, from do this, do that, or oh no, don't do that anymore, do this instead. And
well, you know what's funny, dude? There are other places that have chosen to do it differently, right? And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but there are other places that are choosing to do it differently. Sweden did it differently. Taiwan did it differently. Ultimately, other countries have made different decisions. And because I just thought I'd throw this in here, and I have an amazing producer in the back that decided to do a little digging while we were working. We're going to actually play a video, and we're going to show how things have been done differently in another country. And it's about 4 minutes long, you guys.
Real quick, is that because possibly they're not having a election coming up?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, we could tie it all to politics, brother. Like, we could go down that rabbit hole if you want to. But everybody, watch this video with us. I have not seen this, but this is about Taiwan and how their kids are back in school, and they're doing well. So let's go ahead and hit the video, John.
School's out, but it's nowhere near summer yet, and it's starting to look like things may stay that way for a very long time. In Taiwan, we're about to spend a day at school with Peggy and her mom, Lily, to find out if what's happening there would ever work in Canada. Here, the government extended the school break and closed schools for only 2 weeks. Now, school's back in, and Peggy's school is taking some extra measures to keep kids safe. Temperatures taken, hands and shoes sanitized on the way inside. Lily is also a teacher at Peggy's school.
We need to check everything is clean, then we can go inside the school.
Students gather for an assembly. Today, it's a 101 on germs and COVID-19. Even an excerpt of Matt Damon from the movie Contagion. Nothing's perfect. Not all the kids remember to wear their masks.
My name is Robin. I'm from Minnesota in the USA, and I am here at Dajia as a Fulbright English teaching assistant. The washing hands seems to be really crucial, and I love how this school has announcements. I think at the beginning of each class period, the students usually don't enter the classroom until about a minute into class because they're all busy washing their hands outside.
An added measure at Peggy's school? This girl's name, Mabel, but her official title? Student Chief Disinfectant Officer. And at lunchtime?
I love how the school sets up the yellow divider boards to keep students a little bit separated from each other's airspace.
The government provided thermometers, disinfectants, and face masks to all schools.
Hi, David. Hello, Minister.
Taiwan's Minister of Foreign Affairs is Joseph Wu.
What are the measures that you found worked well for Taiwan?
Well, I think Taiwan's case may not be applicable to all other countries. especially for those countries that are hit very hard already. The reason why Taiwan is more successful than other countries is because we responded quickly.
Back on December 31st, Taiwan began to assess people on flights from Wuhan for symptoms, and soon after increased production on supplies like masks and sanitizers. Taiwan also tracked people with a risk of infection through cell phones to make sure they stayed home.
I feel so much safer here, especially knowing that here the government actually knows where all of the cases are.
That kind of tracking might not be possible in Canada, but our government wants people to stay home too, and just ordered a mandatory quarantine for all travelers, with fines up to $750,000, even jail time. I'm Skyping with Toronto epidemiologist Dr. Isaac Bogach.
So, as you can see, I don't know where that video was going to go with the rest of the discussion, but yeah, that's one example of a place where it's been done differently, and there are several others. I noticed Tammy threw up Egypt, and I know there's a lot of other countries that have chosen to do it differently and gone back to, and they stayed away from this long term. You know, even in China, they did a really, really good job of quarantining Wuhan, and like they had a 17-day shutdown, I believe, and that was it. And they've been fully operational ever since. And yet we're walking into months. I don't even know how many months at this point, since February to October. So 8 months of different things, shutdown after shutdown, or, you know, things completely closed and not completely closed. Like we're dealing with a level of this that is really kind of ridiculous. Now, I just got to throw this out there. The government tracking everybody based on cellular data and stuff like that. Please no, I'm not for that. But at the same time, I don't know, like, guys, like at some point, our children deserve to have their lives back. We deserve to have our lives back. Now, I know it's scary, and I know some of us are dealing with the like things that are a whole lot more difficult, you know, and I get it, guys. I get it. Like, I'm considered high risk if I get exposed. You know, I've had asthma my whole life. Corona and asthma don't go well together. Like, they just don't. But I am tired of hiding. I'm tired of feeling like, you know, I can't go places. I can't do things. I can't encourage my children to go and do things. You know, it's just a frustrating situation all the way around. Chris, what do you think of that video? Like, what stuck out to you the most in watching that? Oh, hold up.
There
You're
we go.
muted, Chris.
Better? To fix it?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I was gonna say the little girl that was the responsible for making sure that everyone was sanitized. That was definitely my favorite. She was pretty hardcore because she looked like she took her job very seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, it's not a bad idea. I mean, when did washing your hands and, you know, just the general stuff most of us are supposed to do anyway, when has that ever been a bad idea?
Hey, first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Kids are disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guys are like filthy little animals, and you guys touch everything. It's gross. Okay, so yes, I'm a firm believer that kids should wash their hands, you know, probably every 10 minutes.
One little silly thing that you probably don't know about me. I actually have a pet peeve. I do not do sticky. I don't like my hands to be sticky. I don't like to feel sticky. I do not like it. I have to wash my hands. Dude, I got 4 kids. They're sticky everywhere, bro. Like, even when you clean, there's sticky. Like, it looks clean, but there's some sticky somewhere, I promise. And for me, I don't like sticky, so I'm always washing my hands, man. I have to.
So, have you ever worked construction, Chris?
Yes.
So, have you ever heard of antices? So
I
you
guess
put it
not.
on like stainless steel bolts in order to keep it from seizing up.
Oh, anti-seize. Yes.
Anti-seize,
You can't
yeah.
get that stuff off of
That
nothing,
stuff gets
dude.
everywhere. It's horrible. That stuff
Talking about the
reminds me of
silver
little
stuff?
kids.
The silver. Are you talking about the silver stuff?
Yep. You
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah. You can't wash it off. It's like, dude.
It
yes,
ends up everywhere. So
I don't like it.
anybody that doesn't know, if you ever got to use anti-seize, get some damn gloves. And it's still going to end up all over your pants, all over your shirt, all over everything, because anti-seize just is. It's
It works
anti-seize.
great.
Yeah, nothing seizes up.
No. I would like to point out another thing that I have really liked about the whole fact that the coronavirus is going on in the world right now and everybody is acting the way they are. When is the last time you've been anywhere in public and somebody's just hacking their germs everywhere? People are scared to cough in public, bro. I like it. You're not sitting anywhere and somebody's sitting there just all over the place. That's gross. You know, if somebody's sick now, they got their mask on, they're on their own little space. But before this all happened, you could go places and people would just be out there just hacking that all out and not caring. And now they at least got a mask on for the most part. So
Yeah,
silver lining.
Silver lining. Yeah, I like finding the silver lining. That's a positive thing. Also reminds me of another gross thing. I think one of the things in that video that is really interesting to me is how there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of intrusion into these kids' normal day, right? Sure, they're washing their hands a little bit more. They got to step in some sanitizer on the way into school, and they've got those silly dividers for lunchtime, right? And one student gets a fancy title and gets to squirt your hands with some more sanitizer as you come in and out of rooms, right? Outside of that, like, that's it. And they're back to school normally, and they're not seeing increases in cases. They're not these kids aren't scared. They look like they were having fun in class. Like they're doing their thing, right? They're doing their thing. But yet here we're doing it entirely different, and all we get from the media and from the government is fear, scared. You know, and
he said it in that video. Their country is more or less unified. They make a decision, it covers everybody. There is no, well, I don't like this person, so I'm not going to follow that rule. That's a liberal idea, or that's a conservative idea. That's one of the things here, man. I mean, it's just depending on who says it to you determines whether or not you're going to listen. And I hate that, but that's where we're at. I mean, people in this country have people that they listen to over others. Like, I guarantee you there's some people right now, absolutely, especially in this group, you have Trump supporters and you have Biden supporters. If Trump comes out and says, hey, you need to do this and you'll be perfectly okay, there's some people that would hold their breath until they passed out instead of doing it, and vice versa. And that's one of the things that frustrates me about this is we don't like to get political with all this stuff, but man, that's where we're at as our country, man. It's everything is political anymore. You can't go to the grocery store without it being political.
You know, Chris, you bring up a really funny point, you know, and it's not funny. It's actually kind of sad that we are to a place where grown adults will literally hold their breath and throw a fit rather than follow the directions given to them by one person versus another. And it is definitely on both sides. And this is why I say all the time, the most hated person in America is a moderate, right? Because we don't agree with either of them. And so as a moderate, right, I just piss everybody off. It's hilarious. But no, you're 100% right. And, you know, yeah, we are in the middle of a very, very big election. There's a lot of things happening on the backside that we don't even talk about. You know, there's a lot of things in the media. And was coronavirus used as a political tool? And maybe that's a discussion we should have. You know, maybe we could look at the political side of the impact of Corona and dig into that and see what we got going on, because it's quite possible that we do have an opportunity that they took advantage of an opportunity in order to make it a political statement. Because I remember
not the government. They wouldn't.
Well,
do that.
like the parties for sure, because like I remember in the beginning, the Dems had one position that's now totally different, and the Republicans had a different position that's now totally, and there's just all this back and forth, on both sides, right? Like everybody was trying to maneuver based on the limited information that we were getting the least amount of information,
You always do.
I know plenty of people that honestly believe that they had Corona in December.
I believe we did. Our whole household did.
Right. Like people
We
talk
were all
about this
sick for
openly,
2 weeks.
but nobody talks about it in the media. But yet it's talked about, So was it here that long? Did we know about it that long? Did we make it through one of these already with minimal?
He said in that video that they started like looking at things in December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting in itself, isn't it?
And if Taiwan knew, what are the chances that the U.S. didn't know?
And he specifically said from Wuhan, China. He didn't say just anybody coming into the country. He said people coming there from Wuhan, China.
Right.
That's pretty specific. Why are you just watching this place in December before it's a big thing anywhere else? Oh, because you guys know some stuff that you're not sharing with the public. Which, I mean, I get it. You don't want to create mass hysteria. I get that. But at what point?
Here's the funny thing, man. We can speculate all day long, and we're never gonna actually know. Like that's the truth. We just aren't, because even if it's been here for since October of last year, and they knew it, we're never gonna find out. That's the way these things work. That's the way these things work. And speculating is fun sometimes. I enjoy doing it. Believe me, I love spinning John and Mike up in the background. You've seen me do it many a times just by winging out some far crazy right-wing theory at them. And next thing I know, their minds are spinning. It's hilarious. I get a kick out of it. I do it all the time. So you guys know that's one of my personal favorite things to do.
At the same time, though, they do come up with some pretty amazing answers to the crazy. Some of the stuff I challenge them quite a bit. Is impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I like to challenge I like to challenge them quite a bit, just because they both have such firm belief in their visions that I take it as fun to just challenge them and frustrate them to no end. In fact, before we did the show, I was doing it to John with a video. I said I'll send John a video from time to time, be like, "What are your thoughts on this, bro?" And it'll be some like crazy YouTube channel that's all about debunking the left, and it'll be the
lizard people,
right, like reptilians and stuff.
We know John loves talking about lizard people.
And here's the best part. Every single time John takes the bait, hook, line, and sinker, and he's off and running. And then I'll just throw a little fuel on the fire to fire him up some more.
For the record, I want to clarify that John does not believe in lizard people. He absolutely.
He literally.
He laughs.
Really, bro. He just put this up.
Typical John fashion. I love it. I wouldn't expect anything less. Oh
no, but you know what, you guys, like at the end of the day, we've had this has been a known issue since February of this year. Right? That's what we do know. Those are the facts that we do know. We publicly knew about this in February. We saw our government put in a travel ban against that part of the country or that part of the world in February. So pretty soon after we found out, the bans went in place, and we had a lot of people that didn't agree with that. I, for one, am grateful that ban went in place when it did. I wish that we had done it 2 months sooner. In spite of the political fallout that would have come from that, from our leadership, but you know what? I wish that we'd have had that then. But at the end of the day, February till now, February till that's 8 months. 8 months. Spring break is was what is there? There's like 9 weeks left of school, right?
Yeah.
March. So kids didn't go to school from March until August.
Really long summer.
I always wanted summer vacations that long. I never got one.
No, we got gypped, dude.
Yeah. They need to see the silver lining, don't they?
But hey, at the same time, you got to look at it this way. Now that they've introduced e-learning, these poor kids never get to experience a random snow day anymore. They'll just make them e-learn at home. We got snow days. Before long, kids won't have snow days ever again. I mean, if you think about it. Like if they're absent, like right now, that's one thing that the kids, they are still allowing. If your kid's going to be sick or is sick and can't come to school, they can log into their classroom and still get counted as present. Currently.
Yeah, they don't have that here. They still have absences here. But yeah, Aiden was telling me that he was at school the other day, one of the days that he was at school, and he just coughed while walking down the hallway. Yeah, he's got a mask on. He just cleared his throat, coughed. And next thing you know, he had 4 people surrounding him, taking him to the nurse's station to get his temperature checked. And he's like, I just coughed.
The only thing we had to worry about was farting loud enough where people could hear it. That was what you didn't want to do in school when we were kids, man. You didn't want to let one rip and somebody know it was you. That was what was to be embarrassed. Now kids are scared to cough, let alone sneeze or just look like you feel bad. I mean, please don't catch a cold. It is that prime time of year right now where we get to go.
Well, not only that, our kids' immune systems are weakened because they haven't been around each other for so long, and they're going back to school now, and so everybody's getting sick with all the normal stuff, but worse. So yeah, they're gonna cough, they're gonna get sick. Ultimately, that's why we have an immune system, And since when? Why teach our kids to have so little faith in their body? The human body is one of the most incredible things, you guys. Its capability to recover and overcome is amazing. And I've lived it. I've lived it. Okay. So that's from straight up. I believe in my body. I believe in my immune system. I know that. I don't know what Corona would do to me. I don't know if I'm part of that 1%, less than 1%. Some people say, I don't know what it is. I don't think the numbers really matter if you're one of them.
No,
if you're one of them,
your family either.
Right. If you're in that percentage or that number, however small it is, it's horrible. It's horrible for you. It's horrible for your family. It's horrible for everybody around you. But at the end of the day, that's also life.
It is.
That's how it works.
We can be cautious without being scared to live
afraid. We can be cautious without having to be afraid. I agree with that. 100%. On a job site, for example, construction job site, we don't even have bathrooms, and yet we have, we go to the bathroom in little porta potties, and it's disgusting, right? But even we get hand washing stations. You telling me we can't set portable hand washing stations up at school?
Yep.
We can't give our kids more access to that.
I'm a firm believer.
We can't have some kids
where there's a will, there's a way.
Right? And if we took all those precautions at this point, what would be the outcome?
I don't know what they do there, but here right now, if the kids don't bring a water bottle with them to school, they don't get to get a drink all day because the water fountains are turned off. They're not just, they literally have them turned off.
Yeah, my son's school's the same way. So he has to take it. You can't get a drink at a drinking fountain, which, by the way, is ridiculous. I just want to say, because little known fact, because I'm full of lots of useless information. Do you know why drinking fountains are slanted at a 45-degree angle?
so that the backwash doesn't go falling back into the water.
And anything that does fall into where it comes out of is where it all gets blown out, right? It's for sanitation purposes. So if you have a normal drinking fountain, it's perfectly safe to drink out of. Sorry, just going to throw that out there. They figured that out when back in the day they used to have water fountains that would shoot straight up, right? In fact, I saw one of these in it was Portland. I was with John and Beats, and I said, don't drink out of that, because that's literally like how disease was spread back in those days. They'd have water fountains sticking straight up, and whatever bacteria or nastiness was in your mouth would fall back in there, and it would just fall right back in the same spot.
I'd like to believe that maybe they just did it because they didn't want everybody touching the same thing. I try to give people more credit sometimes than maybe they're due, because I mean, everybody touches the door handles and
hey, you know what? We have doors that open up without touching them.
We do.
We can have water fountains that turned on without touching anything.
Make it a foot feed. Give it a foot pedal.
Right.
I mean, some of
everybody knows the bottom of your shoes suck.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of things that we could do, but nobody's brainstorming stuff like that. They're just
hold up. Carrie Holt for the win. So it says you can condition your body to not fight anymore. That is exactly what we are doing. Your body needs to be able to fight off germs and diseases. And I wonder how this affects cancer numbers and other diseases in the future. You know, Carrie, that is so straight up. That is a brilliant thought, because you're 100% correct. We do build immunity by getting sick, right? And by being around bacteria, good bacteria, bad bacteria. Sometimes they balance each other out. There's a whole struggle going on in our bodies all the time that we don't ever even see or talk about. Now, the weakness to an immune system, a weak immune system, is more drastically affected by even the smallest of things. So it is quite possible that we could see an increase in fatality rates for what used to be normal sicknesses like a cold or flu. We could see increases in numbers of that moving forward because we now have weakened immune system. You know, that's an incredibly that's an amazing thought. Thank you for that comment, Carrie. You are awesome. But Chris, hey, dude, we're at an hour.
Hey, we made it.
He was really a little bit nervous before this show. I was like, it's going to go by without you knowing it. And here we are, man. It's there. We made it to the hour. So go ahead and wrap it up, man. What are your final thoughts?
Man, where to start?
Big topic.
It's
big finish, Chris. Come on,
try to make it pretty soft, short, and sweet here.
Hey, just think highlight reel. That's what you're going for.
COVID's bad. Love your children. Keep them safe. Whatever you feel is best for your children, do that. Don't let anybody else tell you how to live your life. You know, I mean, be respectful of others, but live your life. If you and your kids want to go do something, go do something. But be smart, be responsible, respect other people. Don't be afraid. There's boogeymen everywhere if we want to look for them. Stop looking for something to be scared of. Stop looking for something to fight about. Stop looking for all the negative that is so easily found, and start looking for the positive, because I promise you that's there too. It's just not always in plain sight. It's kind of like whenever your wife or your girlfriend tells you to go look for something for her, and you're like, I did, it's not there. And then they go in there and they get it and bring it to you and make you feel stupid. It's the same way. The positive is out there. Sometimes you just got to move something out of your way to see it.
Sure.
That's my thoughts, brother.
Chris, I got to thank you. It's amazing to finally have you on a show. You've been with this thing since day one, and I have grown to appreciate you. And you are one of my greatest friends already, and we just barely met. And I don't know, man, it wouldn't seem right if you never got on here and did a show with me. So you did an amazing job. Thank you so much for being here. And you know what,
70
guys, as
here.
far as we're gonna do this again, man. We're gonna do this again. As far as me, yeah, like this is hard. Like this sucks. Because for me, you know, facing the things that we're afraid of and growing and becoming better and that daily fight to strive to be a little bit better every single day, it feels like we're stuck in that, you know, that we've been handicapped by our own government, by our own country, by the circumstances that we live in right now. And that and I struggle with that, right? Because I know this feeling. I know this feeling of not being able to go anywhere. I know this feeling of feeling trapped, you know, because it wasn't that long ago that I was trapped in my own body and I couldn't get it to do the things I wanted it to do. I couldn't go to the grocery store and go grocery shopping. I couldn't, hell, some days I couldn't even get up and walk to the bathroom. Okay. So I know what it is to be stuck. And I didn't ever want to come back to this point. I didn't ever want to be back in this place. I fought all that time to get better, to move on and to overcome, just to be put back in this situation by something that I cannot see. Something that I don't know that I should be afraid of. I don't know that I should be afraid. You know, I shouldn't be. I don't know. It's confusing, right? But here's what I do know. Now I'm watching this affect my children, and I'm watching it affect your children, and I'm watching our country literally pull itself apart over masks. You know, I used to get so frustrated when we first started Breathe America because when somebody would put up a damn mask topic or a mask post, I would get so mad. I'd be like, how is it in the world that we live in today that the most heated subjects is masks?
That's literally how you met me, was because of a mask post.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. That is totally right. I remember that. You oh yeah, we're not going to talk about that. That was hilarious. So,
we're just going to leave that
one.
Yeah,
you got into it over mask and it got hot.
To be fair, I used a person's own statement to make my point, and that caused the frustration. To be fair.
I just want to point out that all these months later, you're still trying to justify your comments in that section.
I wasn't a mod then. I could have my opinions and my biases. I hadn't learned to breathe properly yet then, Pat.
Growth is amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing. Because now, I mean, I'm for a mask. Why haven't we been wearing masks longer? We've been having a flu problem for how many years? I ain't heard nothing about the flu this year. Have you?
No, that's all COVID now, remember?
I know. Interesting. But we got masks, so we're
that was a joke.
Now.
That was a joke. I'm just joking. We haven't cured the flu yet, just so you know. I heard that joke the other day, and I actually thought it was pretty funny.
I think most of our followers get the sarcasm.
You should get it by now. But no, you know what, you guys? Man, this is a tough time. And I don't normally talk about things. I don't normally admit to being frustrated. I don't normally admit to it, but I am. And the reason is because I'm watching this affect our children, my children. And I feel handicapped as a parent, and I feel stuck again. And, you know, just like before, I don't know how to get out of this one, you guys. I don't. But I know that the only way I know we do get out of this is the same thing I did last time. And that is we strive every single day to be a little bit better, to move forward, even if it's a quarter of a step, whatever more we can get today, we have to do that. So every single day. So with that, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. And as always, be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today. Make it count, you guys. I love you. Have an amazing night. Chris, amazing job. Thank you very much.
You're cutting out.